What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Saturday night. I'm super excited to be welcoming our guests today. If this is your first time to our show, welcome to the freshman class, where we get to know some of the newer lawn care creators in the community and hear their story and get to know them a little bit more. Today, we got a special lineup. We have Purple Collar Life from Pennsylvania, Russ from New Jersey, and Mark from the beautiful Garden Village of Villa Park. So I appreciate everyone stopping by. So without further ado, let's bring in the crew. What's up, guys? How you doing?
All right, George.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, George?
What's going on, Mark? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Happy to be here, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, you're all over the YouTube lately, huh?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe in the shadows, a little bit on the fringes there. It's all good, man. It's been amazing. It's been amazing for sure.
It has, man, and I'm super happy to have you on, dude. All the collabs that you're doing lately, I look forward to more content that you're putting out. You're going to put out this season. Real quick, guys, before we get into intros, I want to say hi to a few people in the chat. You know, we had a little bit of a delay uploading the thumbnail and the live stream on YouTube, so my apologies if you guys didn't see that about that. Had some technical difficulties over here. Hopefully everything's coming through all right on the live stream. I want to say what's up to Andy's Lawn Care and Outdoor Adventures and Pacific Northwest Lawns. Emilio, what's up, Emilio? And Oli Pool. What's up, Oli?
Yeah.
How you feeling, buddy?
Oli, that's the homie right there, man.
Dude, he's got one of the nicest lawns for sure, dude.
No, it's awesome, dude.
And then Papa Moslow and JG. What's up, JG? Thanks for stopping by, dude. I always get you and LG mixed up a little bit. And then we got Ryan Austin, Pacific Northwest Lawns, Lawn Beast, Around the House with Pat, Bermuda Brian. What's up, Bermuda Brian? Jason Cyberlick. Hey, I said his name right, man. I cleared that up on the last stream. It's Jason Cyberlick. And then the Lawn Beast, and then Lawn Journeys. So yeah, guys, real quick, if you don't mind, I'd love to hear a little bit more about you guys. So, Russ, I know you've been in the lawn game for a while now. I've seen you over there at your Lawn Journeys channel. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I have lived my whole life in Jersey, North Jersey. I'm now in South Jersey. Been down here about 20 years. Been a lifelong lawn fanatic. Got that from my father. I guess I've always been into the, do the 4 steps, the big box store type stuff. And probably about 5 years ago, I got wiped out by some fungus. And that's when I got turned on to the YouTube community and what was going on. Started to educate myself a little bit more. And now, trying to take it to the next level. You're always one step away from getting wiped out by something. But I'm enjoying it, and I've learned a lot from everybody here on YouTube, and I'm trying to just share my story on the YouTube channel, which is probably been going for about a year. So I'm off to a slow start, but I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, Russ, that's an awesome. As soon as something goes wrong in the lawn, what's the first thing we do, man? We turn to YouTube, and simple fact that you did that research and it got you. Look at here, just a few short years later, you're over here on the internet talking about lawn care. So I mean, that alone is like really awesome. So
I'm a techno fan too, part of my job, and so this was a very interesting combination. So I'm enjoying the whole thing.
Awesome.
Learning on both sides.
Yeah, and not only learning but teaching too. So if anybody watching this live stream hasn't seen Lawn Journeys, go check out his channel. He's always reviewing different equipment and different fertilizers and things like that. So we're definitely happy to have you on, Russ. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And then Mark, I feel like a lot of people in the community have gotten to know you a lot lately. You know what? Real quick, I want to give a super special shout out to SoCal Lawn and Order. What's up, SoCal? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, same thing, I kind of grew up on just about an acre of beautiful, a beautiful green carpet in my parents' backyard. They had big, beautiful elms and maples and stuff. Just a gorgeous outdoor, utopia growing up, right? Growing up back in the day, we didn't we were outside a lot, right? Unsupervised play and stuff. And you just you have that love of nature and connecting, kind of ingrained in your DNA. You see your dad mow the lawn, all of that stuff. When you get older, you do those chores. So, I mean, I grew up mowing the lawn, he put a weed whacker in my hand at a pretty young age, whatever, man. To get the pole saw, trimming branches, trimming hedges, whatever, and just working it. When you're young, it's just a chore. You don't really care. But then when you actually, grow up and you become a homeowner the first time, you arrive and you're ready to kind of take on your own lawn. And it's a beautiful thing, that moment when you're first kind of getting into it in that regard. And, that's kind of, I got infatuated with lawn care. Again, I knew of it from growing up around it and stuff, but you become a homeowner and you just want to learn all about it. You mow, you take pride in how you're mowing, and then you maybe learn how fertilizer works. I did a lot of reading.
I saw that Scott's lawn book you have in your shed.
Yeah, the little waterproof spiral bound book. I love that. But I got a ton of stuff from a lot of different eras. Stuff from England, stuff from the United States and stuff like that. Did looked at YouTube and stuff too down the line and all of that stuff. But yeah, so fell in love with it. When I first became a homeowner and never really looked back. Like I kind of mentioned before, I kind of have taken a different direction. My love of some other aspects of gardening, if you will, or whatever you might want to call it, has kind of overtaken my actual lawn care.
Are those pruners in your hand?
They are, man. But
dude, that's awesome.
So, but I still, I was telling this to someone last week where I still, love my lawn. I love how a lawn can frame up your house. Obviously, it can tie all of your beds together. It's a part of the entire composition. Is that lawn? That negative space of lawn is beautiful. But for me, it has to have other elements into it. And, my approach to lawn care obviously is a pretty holistic one. And when you take that approach and incorporate the whole thing, that's, for me, that's what's special about all of it. But yeah.
And I think your
sorry
channel.
If I'm blabbing, guys.
No, that's all right, man.
2 other dudes here, and I can run at the mouth, man.
No, that's all right, dude. You know what? And I think your channel and your Instagram definitely shows that you have a love for, plant biology and things like that. So the simple fact that you're able to share that info that you have with us, I mean, that means a lot. Real quick, I do want to give a super special shout out to a few people in the chat that I saw pop in. KOTG is in the building. What's up, KOTG?
That sound effect is gnarly, dude.
Dude, yeah, dude. I don't know if you saw their live cast, man, but they're also doing a live stream on Tuesday night. So shout out to all you guys in the KOTG. Thanks for stopping by, including Vince the Longineer. I see him there too. And then LG. What's up, LG? Thanks for stopping by, dude. We got Grace Ortiz in the building. Elevated Lawnscapes. What's up, Cam? Ryan Austin. We got Super. What's up, Super TA? How you feeling, buddy? Thanks for stopping by, dude. Yeah, and Lawn Care Dabbler. What's up, Lawn Care Dabbler? Thanks for stopping by, dude. I'm so happy that you guys could join us today. And Ray T. What's up, Ray T? Thanks for stopping by, dude. I don't know if I've seen you in the live stream or not. If I have, I apologize. But thanks for stopping by, buddy. And then Chad from Purple Collar Life. A lot of people in the lawn care community might not know who you are, or maybe they've seen you here and there, but I really admire your channel because not only do you cover lawn care, but you also cover a lot of outdoor living, and you live on a whole bunch of acres of land, and you kind of show. It kind of reminds me of Oli. Oli's got, that massive piece of property that he has to maintain. So I really enjoy that because me growing up in Chicago, I just want to keep on moving more west out of the city, I want to just live in a rural area. So when I watch your channel, it kind of gives me that escape,
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. It's really, really exciting to be here. You're right that our channel is very much a rural channel. We're northwest Pennsylvania, south of Lake Erie. We're on family land that my great aunt and uncle had Shetland ponies and a big pony farm. And then my parents, when I was in elementary school, built a house somewhere else on that land. And then after I first got a job, I built a house here also. So, there's over 100 acres of family land here that now has 3 generations of people living, and we can't even see each other. So if I look out my window, I can't see my parents' house. They can't see my great aunt and uncle's house. So we enjoy having the space. There are some downsides, though. we just started this YouTube channel less than a year ago, and part of the reason for that was we had no high-speed internet where we live. So we had to wait for high-speed internet to come to us before we could even try to do something like this. But yeah, we really enjoy where we live, and like I say, we try to take care of our lawn. We have a lot of tractor stuff, firewood, log splitters, chainsaws, all that kind of outside stuff that I just really enjoy. And like our name says, we're Purple Collar Life, which is a mix of white collar and blue collar, because that's both my wife and I's jobs are kind of a mix of white and blue collar. But that's what our lifestyle is about too. You know, we enjoy camping, we enjoy technology stuff, but we also enjoy being outside. And we really think that that's kind of the life for us. And we are happy that so many people have really enjoyed watching the videos. We were kind of shocked. We mostly did it to help other people out. I would go to YouTube anytime I had a question about, you know, my washer stopped working. How am I going to fix this? How do I diagnose it? What are some choices? So that was a good way for us to kind of be frugal and saving some money up and try to also, I love learning how to do new things. I'm always trying to learn how to do something different. So, you know, YouTube was a great platform for that. And we're glad to be able to give back to some people who enjoy watching our stuff. Not that we're always all knowing about everything we do, but we certainly try to do our best.
Yeah, and I know that you said that you were waiting for the internet to come to you. You've been pumping out videos like crazy, so I'm guessing you had a whole bunch of ideas before you actually started YouTube.
He had a lot of time to think about all of his ideas, and then
Yeah,
Exactly, man.
Well,
like sitting in a cell for a few years. No,
we
just kidding.
watch a lot of good channels, and they kind of help us come up with ideas. And we're on some good Facebook forums, some tractor forums and firewood forums and outdoor living forums, and it's a great community of people. Really, you know, it's not as competitive as you would think. It's not everybody trying to hide their ideas from everybody else and try to keep secrets. Everybody's really open and supportive. And I know some of the people will tune into each other's live streams all the time, and we post on the community, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Are you having this issue with YouTube? How do you fix this problem with your camera? So it's really a great camaraderie of people in this YouTube platform that help each other out. And I really like that about it.
And not only that, but I really like the concept that you guys have, Purple Collar Life, because I could guarantee that almost 90% of us in the lawn care community follow that same life. You know, like there's something about lawn care and people that are in the IT industry and in the engineering business. And, you know, I was talking about this with the lawn care nut the other night. There's just something about our OCD, like perfectionist mentality that goes into wanting to have the best lawn, you know, or in Mark's case, you know, the best plants or anything like that. So I feel like you really hit the nail on the head with that one.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I got to go subscribe, man. I got to go subscribe. I love that, man. That's really cool. But I'm using my phone to film this, but I'm going to subscribe as soon as this is done, man.
Hey, thank you.
Really
we appreciate
cool.
it.
That's really cool. I love that. And to your point, man, it's funny because it's like, in fact, I was operating on it's got to be about a 1979, 1983 dryer. I don't know how washer and dryer repairmen have jobs still, man. I've become an expert in dryer ins and outs of dryer maintenance from YouTube. It's awesome. It's really cool. But that's awesome. Your channel sounds fantastic, man. I'm there. So
yeah, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So I mean, if there's any place for us to reach people, I feel like this is a good place to do it. You know. So
just like you said, it's an awesome community, man. Yeah.
So Russ, man, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, bud?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm also in the IT business, a lot of project management type stuff. So I enjoy getting out on the lawn. I'd rather be outside any day of the week, any night of the week. You know what I mean? Put me in the dirt and I'm happy. It's the best thing to do at the end of the day. Like I said, really got heavy into the lawn probably about four years ago now, after I got hit with the fungus. So I've been trying to take it to the next level, and Mark would appreciate. I am trying to focus on the soil. I'm doing a lot of the, a lot of the apps for, adding carbon, using the different products. And I have to say, the last 2 years, I've seen my lawn thicken more than it hasn't looked this good in years. And so now, because I'm following everybody here on YouTube, I'm paying a little bit more attention to my overseeding projects and what kind of seed I'm using. I'm not going down and just, throwing out anything. So it's been fun. And like I said, I'm trying to share my journey with everybody, which is what the channel's about. Trying to keep it interesting. That's probably the hardest part of the YouTube thing, because I do like putting myself out. It's getting a little bit easier. It's kind of weird standing in front of a camera sometimes, talking to yourself, and your neighbors are walking by, and you kind of stop for a minute. But it was just last season. I'm out there in the yard. I'm spraying with my spray bottles, and these two women are walking by, and they're like, "You need to come to our house to teach our husbands how to take care of our lawn, because your lawn looks fantastic." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much. Really nice." But you always got to be humble, because like I said, you never know what the next insect or fungus is, and it's all gone. So, always
Next
be
fungus
humble.
could be your neighbors, man. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
exactly. Yeah.
Man,
I'm always
dude.
fighting that too. Yeah.
Russ got the ladies hitting on him, man, because he's got a
Yeah.
nice lawn.
I told my wife,
I
I
love
came
that,
in, I'm
dude.
like, oh, it was kind of fun. It was
Who
nice.
were
It's
those-
nice to
who
get
were those
compliments.
ladies? That's funny.
And it just started like the last year or two. I had another neighbor, another guy, he drove by, and actually two guys last season, and they were asking me, "What are you doing?" So I'm like, check the channel out. There's a lot of folks on YouTube, but check mine out too. And I like to help anybody I can. So,
Russ, I see Super TA said that you put pre-emergent down already. Did
yes, I did today.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah,
You're on
you're
it,
good
huh?
you're good in Jersey after March 1st. I didn't put any fertilizer down, but I like to get it out early. And I
You
am
didn't do
doing
a
a split
sneaky
app.
fert.
Yeah, no sneaky fert. I'm waiting on a soil test to come back too, but I did a half app of pre-emergent, and then I'm going to go with the water dispersible granule in like another 5 weeks and do it again. And the reason why I do that is I've been caught before sometimes and waiting for that magic 55-degree soil temperature, and I'm getting ready to put it down. You're watching, and you get too obsessed with it, and then you get 10 days of rain. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to put it down, even though it needs to be watered in. If I'm getting, rain for 5 days, it just doesn't seem like a smart thing to do. And then you kind of miss the window, and it's never too late. You can still get it down. But so I like to put it out early. It could be another 4 weeks before we hit 55. It could be 6 weeks. I don't know. But that's why I'm doing the split app. And I did that last year, and I did really well. I had pretty much no crabgrass, a little bit in one area. So
Nice.
yeah, the thing I'm paying attention to now is I see a lot of people talking about maybe you shouldn't be doing pre-emergent every year, because there's negatives to that with the roots and things. So I'm investigating that. So it may go a year where I don't do it, and we'll see what happens, but not this year.
Nice.
We still had snow today.
Did
It's
you?
been hard to put anything down here in
Yeah.
Northwest Pennsylvania.
Yeah, North Jersey's melting. This area is pretty much melted out right now. So
You
it
had
was
snow
still
today?
flurrying.
What's it?
Yeah.
You had snow today, Chad?
Yeah, we had flurries today during the daytime, and our ground is still solid hard. So
Oh, man. Real quick, I want to jump to the comments. I see a few people that joined. What's up, Brian at Lawntism? How you feeling, buddy? You always give me the shout-outs, man. I got to return the favor to you. Brian with Lawntism, representing the KOTG podcast. Papa Moslow, what's up, Papa? Mr. Lush Lawn, what's up, David? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. We got Lawn to Learn and Andy, the Lawn Father. What's going on? And then we got Mow Like a King. I don't think I've seen you around here, Mow Like a King. Thank you for stopping by, dude. Much appreciated. I hope to see you again. So let's say, Chad, for example, you're up there. You said your family has 100 acres, right?
right, yeah.
How many of those acres do you personally take care of?
So our land is about 30 acres that our house sits on, and we have about 20,000 square feet that is our front yard. And then we've got a lot of backyard that the grass isn't nearly as nice. But all of that front yard was originally a pasture field. So, it started out just like field hay, and I didn't have any experience with lawns, didn't have any idea how to do any of that. So I just took our old Cub Cadet 149 lawnmower and mowed that hay right down, and then just kept cutting it week after week. And then a few years later, still with no experience on how to have a nice lawn, it was still just a mowed field at that point. called True Green. They came out and did their applications for that summer, and it was amazing to me that True Green could really convert our lawn to, a grass lawn that not only looked nice but was a healthy lawn. So that was kind of the start of it. We only used True Green for about 1 year. They are pretty pricey. So after that, we just kind of tried to learn on our own through YouTube and talking to friends and talking to people at Home Depot, what to do to maintain the lawn. And then we got pretty seriously conscious about safety on the lawn with chemicals. We had a golden retriever that we lost to cancer, not in any way attributed to the lawn, I'm sure, but we didn't want to lose any other pets to chemicals in the lawn. So we started taking a serious look at safety. And last year we tried the product Sunday. It's supposed to be all organic or all natural, and it does. I said on our channel, we were happy with it. The lawn was definitely better with it than without, but it's a slow progression. You have to be really patient. And sometimes I don't have that patience. I want that instant gratification that when I put something down in a couple weeks or a month, I'm going to see results. And the Sunday lawn program, you really see results at the very end of the season, like how healthy it is at the end of the season. But then all spring and summer, you're just kind of like, come on, we're hoping it would look better than this. So, it was a learning experience with that also.
Awesome. I really like that you take a safety approach when it comes to lawn care, because I feel like often sometimes, I'm not the best safety Sally in the world myself. I could always do a better job wearing PPE when I apply chemicals and things like that. But it's always good to have that constant reminder, So I know that you're taking a more safe approach to lawn care, which kind of drives me into Mark, man. I know that you're really heavy into making your soil, correcting your soil, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. You're taking all organic approach this year to lawn care.
It started a couple of years ago, and then leading up to that, it was 85% or whatever. I stopped being very rigid on any kind of an application, and then I went into just full organic, and now I'm going to go zero input this year and see what happens. I top dressed with an EQ compost that was co-composted with biosolids last year, and I think that's going to pretty much take care of me for the better part of the year or whatever. I'm just going to kind of ride it out. My lawn it wakes up fine, it greens up fine throughout the year. It does fine, in those August dog days. It holds its own. It has its moments, but the way I see it, I'd rather be out at a water park or doing some other stuff, playing Nintendo down in my basement with my whitey tighties and a sombrero on during the hottest days of the summer. I'm not even out on the lawn, and I don't care. So I let it go. I don't really irrigate either. But then it bounces back. It bounces back after those dog days just fine, which is a testament to the soil and that structure, and how deep those roots can go and get that water, when it needs it. And obviously the relationships that are formed there with the soil biology. Like right now we have all of this. We had all of this snow, George, as you know, man. We had an old school Chicago, winter this year, and we had all of that. We had all that snow, and we got this beautiful snow melt. That's the type of snow that's going to be held deep down in those micropores. If you have that beautiful soil structure deep down in that soil, it's being held there in like interstitially. A lawn can survive those dog days of summer that way. So I'm not, so during the dog days, it does have its moments. And then, like I say, it kind of bounces back in September, October. We all know, us Midwesterners and Northern people, how amazing a lawn looks in the fall, right? So, and that's basically it. As far as fall lawn care, I kind of just mulch leaves and stuff like that. I don't really do any kind of a load up or whatever. The nitrogen blitz, is that still a thing? I think people are still doing that or whatever, but which is cool. I mean, and that's good, man. Everybody's got their own thing. I've got the ability to do that. I've got the best soil in the world, and I'm not saying that to brag. Soil that's been developed under tall grass prairie. I'm sorry, I'm freezing down here. My basement's cold. Is some of the best soil in the world. That beautiful black soil, prairie soil. So that's where my soil originated. It had issues. I had to step in, here and there over the years, and do some things. I've done things to it. It was maybe poorly managed or neglected at some point before I truly took this over. and then you get it to that point. You get it to the point where you can do it, where it can be self-sustaining, so to speak, and it can be a resilient lawn that can bounce back from those climatic extremes and stuff like that. So that's kind of been my whole MO.
Nice, man. Well, it's always good to have an organic approach to lawn care. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to LC. This is one of your channel subscribers, Chad. They said found you through Purple Collar Life. So thanks for stopping by, LC. Really appreciate that and supporting the channel. But yeah, Russ, I was gonna ask you, are you doing any types of soil amendments this year? I know that you said you were throwing down a lot of carbon. What kind of carbon were you throwing down?
Well, I've been into the humic. Oops, sorry. Been a little heavy with the humic. I'm into the biostim pack from Greene County. I've been pretty much using that religiously with the RGS, the microgreen, the humic, aerate. So when I just did my soil sample last week, I'm waiting for the results. I have noticed. I think, my opinion, but the soil, I have a heavy clay soil here. So I'm probably 2 years into doing a lot more humic, and I think the soil's changing to me, at least visually. So I'm kind of really interested to see what my results are that come back this year. I've always been low on phos, a little low on pH. You're not supposed to apply phosphorus in New Jersey unless you've done a soil test. It was low last year, so I did a correction early in the year, and I did a little bit of phosphorus during the year, but not too much. So I'm kind of curious. I'm more interested in balancing my soil now than just flooding my grass with nitrogen. And I have to say, I think I have grass growing in places now that I've had problems in prior years, and I'm not saying it's all because of the biostims. It could be a combination of that. And the extra humic that I've been putting down, but I'm doing something right. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's looking better. So I think I'm on a good path.
Awesome. As a quick reminder, anybody watching this chat, if you can do us a favor and hit that like button, we would really appreciate it. Helps us reach more people in the algorithm. So if you appreciate our stories, if you can go ahead and do that, that'd be sweet. And then Chad, I know you got tons of acres over there. Sometimes it can't be reasonable to throw down a whole bunch of applications, on your lawn, and I get that. What is your approach to feeding your lawn and things like that over there?
So for us, it's mostly that we worry about the front yard, since we can see that out the front of the house, and that's the 20,000 square foot, space that if we're outside, playing catch or whatever, that's kind of our play area. That's where the dog runs around a lot. So we worry about the front yard more than the backyard. The backyard's probably equal in size, but if you looked out the front of the house and compared it to what you see when you look out the back of the house, you can tell that we've really paid attention to the front lawn and not as much the back lawn. Since it was
party in the front and what is it? Party in the front and business in the front. Yeah, something like that.
So
exactly you've got a mullet lawn, man.
Since the front yard had been pasture, it is some good base soil underneath there. It just needed some attention. And then, like I said, we're just learning along the way. This year, we're going to try a different product. You'll watch for it on our channel in a couple of weeks here, something new and exciting. It's another safe organic product. So we're looking forward to trying that and showing people what it's about. Company that just started this year. I'd never even heard of it before a few weeks ago. So we're excited about that. But, it started out with just doing the basic things, and I thought that was important to do the things we could do. We knew we should do. We were mulching instead of just blowing all those clippings everywhere or collecting them. Every time we do have a lot of oak trees and maple trees around us. So when those leaves come down, we mulch that up and let that become part of the lawn also. So even just those basic things. And I think that's there are so many people that talk about lawn care. And if I were just getting into it right now, the chemical names and the treatment names and even what kind of spreader to use, it's a little intimidating. So I like that, there are opportunities for people to say, hey, let's take this in baby steps. What can we do the first few months or the first year to make our lawn a little bit better? It's not going to change overnight. I know some people think, if I do this treatment in March, April, and May, by June, July, and August, my lawn's going to look just like these guys I see on YouTube. And I don't think it goes that quickly. I think it's a lot of effort over a long time to make a beautiful lawn like you see on some of these channels.
It's still nature. It's still nature, man. You know, we're imposing our will on it, but it's still nature. It takes time. You know, you're not going to pour a magical bag of something and make it that. Yeah, that's good, man. I love that, dude. I want to go to your channel, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I like that how you're taking that approach, you know, because sometimes, you know, we see all these awesome lawns on YouTube and, you know, we might get discouraged or some people don't know where to start when it comes to lawn care. So
right.
if you take them along for your journey, man,
Right.
you know, that could kind of show them step by step how to do it.
Yeah, Rome is not built in a day. And
Yeah. Exactly, Russ.
Yeah.
Russ, what type of lawn do you have right now? I remember that you were. What type of grass do you have?
it's a mix. It's a salad. It's KBG mostly. It's got some fescue in it. You know, originally when this house was built, I've been here for 20 years. It was a sod, so it was originally a KBG. But I've overseeded it over the years. I've gone down to Home Depot. I bought the Scott seed. I got this seed. I got that seed. So it's all over the place. I think I even found some bent grass in it last year. I'm out on the side and I was like, what the heck is this? And you know, I started tearing it out. It was making me nuts. But so what I did last fall is I got a Sunjoe dethatcher and I really tore the place up. And I went out and I got the GCI Blue Heat, which is a KBG mix. It's I think it's Blue Coat, Pivot, maybe Appalachian. I think that's it. So it's 3. And I'm thinking really probably what I should have done was they have a cool blue, which is more of a mix. It's KBG, and I think it has fescue in it. I think that's probably what I should have done because KBG suffers in the heat in the summer. However, I did go really heavy this last summer with some of the stress blends, and I was pretty impressed with them. I really think the lawn held up. So I don't know if it was the application of that or it's been the biostims, or a combination. Plus, I fixed some of my irrigation problems I had here because I do irrigate. But it is a salad ball.
Awesome. Real quick, I want to give a super special shout out to Jamie the accountant and Nice Lawn. Super special shout out to Nice Lawn. Francis is the man. Helped us kick off this podcast. If you guys
I
haven't
love
seen his
Francis,
channel,
dude. Francis and his hummingbirds in his yard, man. It's awesome.
definitely. You
Francis
guys want to go
is-
see one of the nicest lawns in America?
It is.
You go check out Nice Lawn.
And he still mows high, right? Isn't he a high mower?
No,
Or
no,
is he mowing low?
No, he's about that low mo.
Is he about the low mow?
Yeah, no, he's
That's okay. I still like it.
He's in the low mo hardcore, man. He's got a
Is he?
McLean. He's got a McLean, a Greensmaster, and an Outlet. Yeah, he just picked up that electric Outlet, man. That thing is super sweet. But you know, speaking of grass types, man, Mark, I know that your lawn is like 140 years old. Is that what you said? Something like that.
My house was built in 1914. So yeah, the lot is whatever 108 years old or whatever. But you know that again that was all prairie there and all of that. You know, it's hard to say exactly how long vegetation's been on it or whatever. But yeah, man, is he good? What the heck, George? Where's George going, man? We got a special visitor.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got a special visitor, man. Baby Sophia in the building. Say hi to them. Can you wave to
Hello.
the people?
Hi, Sophia.
What a cutie, man.
I think that's something we all have in common, man. You know, I love you, baby. She's a good baby. She's going to bed. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Bedtime, man.
It is.
Good thing.
I love
Just
it.
like the grandparents, man. Bedtime at 7:00.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think
But yeah,
that's
no, it's old, and there was, you know, I hand pulled a lot of old time, you know, pasture grass type stuff and K31 type fescue, gnarly bunch coarse fescue and stuff like that. I pretty much that's all been eliminated at this point out of there. I've been working on it, you know, passively in the early 2000s, 2003ish or whatever. But when I really became a lawn fanatic, it's when like we talked about earlier, when I became a homeowner in 2008 out in Bolingbrook, Illinois, George. You know where that is.
Bolingbrook,
But,
man, right off of 53 and 55.
I was right behind the promenade over there. But, you know,
Oh,
so that's
buddy.
kind of where I cut my teeth on. You know, I geeked out on lawn stuff, you know, at that time, but still kind of passively worked on this one. And by the time I kind of moved into this home in 2013, 2014 is when I, you know, kind of took this over here or whatever. But, you know, and I was pulling a lot of stuff out of this yard, man. And there's a lot of antique grasses that have come in, you know,
Antique grasses, I like that.
Yeah, yeah, you know, a lot of stuff like that. Some of the most common broadleaf weeds and stuff like that. But you know, it's the typical northern mix. But like Russ was saying, I mean, I've overseeded countless times, man, countless times. And to my you know, my opinion is that Jonathan Green has been always my go-to. I've got this little garden shop. It was actually in the LT Turf episode, not trying to plug, but
I saw that garden shop, man. Let me guess, that's over on like Summit or Main Street.
It's on Villa Avenue. It's
oh,
awesome.
Yeah, Villa, yeah.
It's a treasure. It's an absolute treasure. But they've got bulk grass seed, and they've always been proprietors of Jonathan Green.
Dude, it's like a candy store. They just serve the grass seed.
It literally, oh, definitely, dude, definitely. And he puts it on an old school scale somewhere. I think it's my personal Instagram and not the Lawn Creeps one. I got a picture of Bill's hand, Bill Cargis, the botanist extraordinaire, and it's an old Stimson scale, dude. It's like an old scale. The place it's magical. But anyways, they always have carried Jonathan Green, and in my opinion, Jonathan Green are innovators of turf type tall fescue. They were doing it long before the YouTube, you know, revolution, as far as kind of advances in cultivars of turf grass, specifically turf type tall fescue. So, you know, I'm sure Russ can attest, or whoever was using that can attest to it. I think there's some dudes out there maybe in the chat. I think Mike Haddad, Lawn Addictions, I think he's into Jonathan Green heavily right now, and it's amazing stuff. It's an amazing.
I know it's top shelf. I haven't tried it, but
get it, dude.
Yeah,
I think it's from your. Aren't they from Jersey? I think they might be from Jersey. No, I can't remember where they're out of, but
I hear everybody talking about the Mountain View seeds now, man. That's like the new craze right now in the lawn community. You know, there's like a flavor of the month every month, man. It's this seed, that seed, that seed, that seed, you know?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, man. Jonathan Green is as corny as their packaging is, the guy with the beard, the Santa Claus looking guy or whatever. I think they've toned down that guy a little bit. He's still on the package. I had an old package under here, but their imaging or whatever you want to call it, their whole vibe is kind of geeky, but it's an amazing product, dude. It's an amazing product, and they've been doing it for a long time.
Sweet. We got a few questions here in the chat that I want to address. Our new viewer, LC from Purple Collar Life, sent them over here. He asked, where are you all located? Me, I'm in the western suburbs of Chicago. And then if you guys want to answer where you are.
We are about an hour and a half south of Lake Erie in Pennsylvania, so northwest corner of Pennsylvania.
So I'm east of Philadelphia on the Jersey side, so I would be considered South Jersey area.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, LC. You know, that's a good thing about live streams. You know, we could all come together and kind of get to know each other a little bit more. So I appreciate that question. And then Nice As Lawn, he got a question. Where do you guys find fresh content for your channel? Do you just wait for issues to arise in the lawn? Asking for a friend. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. You know, when it comes to content, they always say content is king. And I feel like fresh content is kind of hard to find, man. And it's not like every single video that you put out, there's going to be fresh content. Right. But I think rather than focusing just on fresh content, try to add your own spin to your own content. You know, try to present it in a way that's never done before. At least that's what I think. How about you guys?
I agree. You know, I'm not pushing products. I'm not, you know, buying what I need. And that's why I named my channel Lawn Journeys. It's kind of like my journal. this is what I'm doing on my lawn this week. If I happen to buy a new product, because I'm using it, like I bought the Sunjoe Dethatcher last year, I have an Ego Edger. That thing, that little video got a lot of hits. I guess, that's something people are looking at. Now, did I go out and buy it because I wanted to get hits on my channel? No, I needed the Edger. So it's kind of just your journey and as I go. I'm not like, going out and trying to hunt down, the product of the week and demo it and, put links out for it. It's that's not what I'm into. But I enjoy the camaraderie here. And George, I thank you for doing this. And I'm watching religiously, and I'm enjoying chatting with the other guys in the groups. And I'm you're developing relationships with people. So it makes it even more enjoyable.
Totally agree, man. Couldn't say it better myself. Over here, I want to give a super special shout out to Grace Ortiz. She's taking care of her 89-year-old father. She said, my wife is putting my baby to bed and she's putting her father to bed. You're a good daughter, Grace. Hopefully my baby girl does the same for me. Hopefully she doesn't just throw me in a nursing home. Then I'm not going to have no type of lawn over there.
You'll get the lawn tools little thing that he's got going that's 3D printed. You can cut it with the scissor.
That's lawn.
Yeah.
I like that you were talking about equipment, Russ, because this kind of segues me into a question that I had for Chad. I know that I see like a lot of your content is tractor based. Now, I'm a city guy. I live in Chicago, and I don't have any type of tractor. But I'm sure a lot of people would love to have a tractor one day, like a Kubota or John Deere or something like that. So what are some things that you can do lawn-based with your tractor? Or what do you do in your lawn with that tractor?
For years, we always mowed our lawn with the tractor. I have a 62-inch deck on that John Deere 2210. So it's a subcompact tractor, about 23 horsepower. It's not too big to be on a lawn, which is one of the things I really like about it. I've got turf tires for on it, and I switch those in and out with R4 tires. So if I'm doing loader work, I put my R4 tires on. But then if I'm going to be in the lawn a lot, I go ahead and put those turf tires on because I don't want to dig up the lawn. So for many years, that was what I mowed the lawn with. Just last summer, I got my first ever zero turn. So first zero turn experience. And it's amazing. After I got the zero turn, I really didn't use the John Deere for mowing that much anymore. And not because the John Deere wasn't good at mowing, but being able to leave the front end loader on that tractor made it such a more useful thing for me. If you've got the front end loader on it, not only is it heavy in your lawn, but it's hard to maneuver. If you're maneuvering, we've got a
for
row
all the
of
people
flowering.
that don't know exactly what a front end loader is, including me, can you explain that?
Sure, that's the front bucket on the front of a tractor, like you see for scooping up stuff. You can use it to move snow, or if you're kind of doing some landscaping, you can scoop dirt and then dump it and lay it out. We use it to maintain our driveway. We get gravel brought in, and then the front end loader can kind of drag along the driveway to smooth that gravel out. We have a really long driveway also, so at 2/10 to 3/10 of a mile long, our driveway takes maintenance that the tractor helps us out with. But like I said, having a zero turn for the first time really made the tractor just for the front end loading and more of the working in the woods type of work. And it's amazing that, before we had the zero turn, mowing with the tractor was fast, but not as fast as zero turn, because mowing with the tractor, especially a tractor that size, you have to stay a pretty good distance from stuff. So then you got to go out with the push mower and push mow around trees and stuff. Then you've got to take the trimmer out and trim against things that you couldn't get to with the push mower. So mowing is like 3-stage process, whereas with the zero turn, I can pretty much not even have to trim a lot of the areas we have now. So it's an amazing difference.
I saw that zero turn that you guys had. You got the Toro time cutter, right?
Correct. Yeah, the Toro time cutter with the 60-inch fabricated deck. So amazing machine. We also take care of a cemetery. So we can load the Toro into a covered trailer, take it up to the cemetery, mow the cemetery, and it cuts that time down, as you could imagine, because not having to do as much push mowing and trimming at a cemetery when there's all those stones makes a huge difference. Now, I have learned about a zero turn that part of that cemetery is a pretty good slope downhill, and that can get a little scary on a zero turn. So there are some times that we push mow things if it's still wet out, just because the zero turn can be a little sketchy on a slide like that.
It's funny you mentioned the zero turn, man. I have a neighbor that's like across the street from me, and or in like down a few houses, and this guy has like maybe 600 square feet in his front lawn, and he cuts it with a 0-turn mower.
No kidding. Yeah.
We see people like that, yeah.
I'm like, dude, man, it's so funny looking at him turning, man, on his little lot, dude. But hey, man, it's easy, right? I guess.
And if you enjoy the equipment, I'd say, you know, if you only can do 2 passes on it, if you love riding that 0-turn, go ahead and use it.
When I was a kid, I used to cut my parents' lawn. We had an Alice Chalmers tractor with the trailer and the vacuum on it. We had like maybe 2.5 acres there, and I used to lay stripes with that. I love that thing. I don't have a big enough property now for a tractor. Time Master would be nice, but not a tractor. But yeah.
And Mark,
Good
you're
tools.
running a Cub Cadet, from what I remember.
Yeah, man, just a simple Cub Cadet. Yeah, no, you know, self-propel, no nothing, just old school push. I decidedly bought that after having a Honda. I had a bunch of mowers, old mowers, and then I had a Husqvarna that was pretty good, not quite powerful enough, but I liked it a lot. I put a Gator blade on that thing, and it was awesome. I had to get a Honda, man. You know, at one point, I had to kind of, you know, that was kind of the holy grail before the Toro Time Master stuff kind of really came into its own. The Honda with the thumb paddle thingies was all the rage, in that Quadra cut or whatever, the double blade under there gave a hell of a cut. It lifted well, cut well, it mulched it real good. But that Honda was just kind of, I didn't like the self-propel. I thought it was heavy and lumbering, so I wanted to go back to just a bare bones, old school, feel the ground through the handlebar kind of just mower, man. And I wanted to get a good one though. You know, I realized Cub Cadet is an MTD product. You know, that's all kind of the same. That's all the same, you know, components essentially. But this one was good. I mean, it's got ball bearings in all 4 wheels. It's got a couple of bells and whistles. But for me, I'm kind of, you know, in case you haven't noticed, I'm a little obsessive or whatever. But I love the look of the black and yellow. I popped the hubcaps off so it looked a little better with an all black wheel and that gnarly tread on the tire, the black and yellow, and it's like a badass, like a killer bee lawnmower, dude. I love it. I drew the little long CREEPS guy on there, and that's it. That's where I'm at right now. But you know what I want to get is I'm into vintage too. I think we've had that conversation, George, about vintage computers and gaming and stuff like that. But I want to get one of those old school John Deere mowers, riding mowers with the engine in the rear. I forget what they're called, but you know, the tiny little yellow and you know, green John Deere old school, like 60s, 70s or whatever.
I like those lawn boys, man. The old school
lawn boys too, man.
The 2 cycles.
I remember those.
Yeah. I have an affinity for old school equipment, or for vintage equipment for sure. So
I really like when they had the 2 cycle engines, man. You know, now they're all 4 cycle, but
that was a big mower when it came out.
Yeah,
Everybody had them. Yeah, I remember this.
That was the Time Master of our time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Of their time, you know.
Yeah.
You had to mix the oil, yeah.
Good stuff, man. Yep.
Yeah, but that's cool, man. I really like your vintage equipment. I got a good sense of it, dude. It looks like you got a lot of cool things, man. You know, it's not always about the new equipment, and it's not what kind of equipment you have. It's how you use it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, man, for sure. You know, I'm kind of a nostalgic guy, you know, by nature, anyways, and the way I see it, you know, that there's stories inside this equipment. You know, I know that gets a little bit weird and philosophical or whatever, but there's just something about it was made so well back then. It was just a different world, you know, the way things were made and manufactured. Not that, you know, they're obviously, to, you know, Russ's point in them, you know, there's some amazing machinery out now and stuff like that, you know, but just old stuff, man, is just, it's thicker and heavier and cooler looking, and it's got a soul in it, you know, so I like that stuff. Yeah.
Well, even I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Russ.
I was going to say, even the 2 Toro recycler mowers that I use, they're probably 15 and 20 years old, and I keep looking at the Time Master. I'm like, that would be cool, but I can't justify it. They're never going to die,
right?
You know? And then when my son's here, you know, we knocked the whole lawn out in half the time, so I still need the 2 mowers.
Two people mowing beats a one person on the Time Master.
It does. Yes.
You know,
So-
Chad, speaking of equipment, man, like on your channel, I see you reviewing all sorts of equipment, man. You know me, I'm always commenting on your videos. Like, this guy has the best toys I've ever seen, dude. Like, for real. So I got to ask you, man, since you started YouTube less than a year ago, what's your favorite piece of equipment that you've tried out and used?
Boy, that's a tough one. We're pretty impressed with the time cutter since that's our first ever zero turn. I have a video about 5 tips for using a zero turn because, like I say in the beginning of that video, I was really intimidated with the zero turn. You know, I've grown up with 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers, farm tractors, but a zero turn is a totally different type of machine. It's got that skid steer type steering. You know, you're using both arms, and it's just a different experience. So that's kind of a really fun one that we've enjoyed. But we also this winter got to try out the Toro Power Max snowblower, and I know George, you had one of those on your channel, and the interest this winter in snowblowers was amazing.
Yeah.
I think we did 8 or 9 videos on that snowblower, and they all are doing really well for a small channel like ours, especially. So
yeah, likewise, man. I got like 160,000 views on that one video.
yeah, and
Which was nuts.
we've always just plowed snow. We have a snow plow on our 4-wheeler, and I have a snow plow for the tractor or a back blade for the farm tractor. So blowing snow was an amazing experience just because, you know, you're moving so much snow quickly, and to see it shoot out that chute, it's just a fun thing to watch. It's kind of mesmerizing, you know, while you're walking along, moving that, seeing that snow shoot 30 or 40 feet away from you is just kind of an amazing experience. So I'd say both Toro products we've been really happy with.
The time cutter you guys have, do you have the one with the Toro engine or the Kawasaki engine?
It's got the Toro engine, 24 and a
okay.
half horsepower.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I look forward to more equipment that you're trying out because, you know, on YouTube, there's a whole plethora of people doing things on products, but not really equipment, man. And I appreciate those equipment videos because I'm more of an equipment guy, you know?
Yeah. It's just going to require bigger garages because you only have so much room.
Yeah. How do you store all your equipment? Do you have like a, where do you put it in a regular garage?
Yeah, so we have 2 garages. We have a 3-stall garage beside the house here, and that's mostly just vehicles, but it does have some storage for, you know, push mowers or a lawnmower in there. But we have a big 40-foot by 60-foot pole building that has a lot more space in it. It's actually kind of, we wanted it for a long time. We saved our pennies for a long time, and it's a great place. It's got a basketball court in it, and our 16-year-old daughter goes out there and plays basketball with her friends or volleyball. We play a lot of foursquare out there. So, you know, one of the nice things about living in a rural area is having the space to build a building like that, where not only can you store things, but you can use it for fun play.
Nice, man. Nice. And Andy has a question. He said, now that we're on the topic of equipment, what is your favorite brand for hand tools, blowers, trimmers, etc.? I'm going to say mine personally, because it's what I have, is going to be, in no particular order, but Steel, Toro, and Ego. How about you guys?
I love my Ego string trimmer, man. I want to get more Ego stuff. I want to get the hedge trimmer attachment. Looks very legit, as the kids say, right? The thing actually articulates amazingly, and it's got an awesome reach. But Ego stuff is awesome, man. I could do a lot of edging and trimming in my whole yard and be good on battery and stuff. It's got a lot of power. I love Ego stuff, man.
Likewise, man.
Yeah.
I have the Ego blower and Ego 8-inch edger. I'm a gas guy. I don't think I'd ever go without a gas mower unless the government forced me to get an electric mower.
Well, you live on the East Coast, not on the West Coast,
God.
so I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, but I'm impressed with the Ego stuff. You know, I have a gas-powered string trimmer, and I'm waiting for it to blow up, and I'm just going to get the other attachment for my Ego setup. For the size property I have, it makes sense. I can.
You have the Ego edger?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have sidewalk around, you know, 2 sides of my property, so it works well. And that one battery takes care of everything. And I can edge everything. I can cut, and then I have the 560 blower, and I still have that battery. Will go for a couple weeks. I don't have to charge it. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, the battery's definitely good, man.
Yeah.
The only thing about battery, and this is not to hate because I have it and I love it, but when it runs out, it always runs out at the most inconvenient times. Man.
Yeah.
It really does.
there's a lot of good. I mean, Toro's got good stuff too, but you know, you're brand centric once you start because it's compatible.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the Ego. I know people love the Toro stuff, and I
And
probably
God
will.
knows those 60-volt batteries, man, are dude. A 7.5 amp hour 60-volt battery costs like almost $400 for one battery.
Wow.
I have a friend that has the Ego mower. He loves it. I don't know if I could go there. I know he has a little problems in wet grass with it, so I like my gas mower still.
I would love to go to the mower. I like that I like their steel deck one or whatever, and I was just like, man, I wonder, but I don't think it would hold up to my lawn, to be honest with you.
And they came out with for Chad. They came out with a zero turn Ego. Probably not going to cut your 20,000 square foot. Maybe it would. I don't know. But I mean, it's pretty impressive where they're going with the battery stuff.
Yeah, we don't have any battery equipment. That's interesting that you guys really enjoy those. We're pretty much all steel equipment here, and that's just you know, when we started out, we weren't steel. We were just whatever we could afford, which might have been, you know, a home light trimmer or a Poland trimmer. And it was constant problems. Like, there's nothing worse than pulling that out when you need it and it won't start, or, you know, the string feed doesn't work right and you're constantly tearing it apart just to get another 3 inches of string out of there. So once we switched to steel, I was really impressed that you're not constantly working on it. It's just a reliable piece. You grab it and use it and it works. And
I totally agree with you, man. And that kind of goes to my point. You know, I see that Brandon from Bush League Lawns. By the way, what's up, Brandon? Thanks for joining, buddy. He said he likes Echo equipment, but I am not a fan of Echo equipment personally, man. I had the Echo SRM 225, and that thing wouldn't power my rotary scissors. The carb was gunking up all the time. I had to adjust it a million times. Like, I just didn't like it. And bring back to your point, Chad, you know, I think steel equipment is awesome. As a matter of fact, I love my equipment, my Ego equipment a lot, but I'm not so sure that I want to switch from Ego to steel, or switch from steel to Ego when it comes to edging my lawn, because I already have a steel edger and it works great. I have the FC56, so I'm really happy with that. What kind of steel equipment do you have?
So we have the blower, we have the
backpack one.
No, just the handheld.
Okay.
It works good for us, and we have a lot of leaves. So, you know, I thought about the backpack one, but the price is up there, and we just haven't justified that spend at this point. And we do a lot of, like I say, a lot of mulching. So most of the leaves in our lawn get mulched up. What's close to the edge, we can just use that handheld blower to blow them right into the edge of the woods, since we're surrounded by woods on three sides. So, you know, we have like I said, the trimmer, the blower. I have the pole saw, which that was a great investment. You know, we have a lot of trees that need trimmed, and at the cemetery, obviously, there's a lot of trees that need trimmed on the in and out road and above the stone. So the pole saw was a good investment. If there was one thing I was saving up for to get next, would be, there's like a rubber paddled broom. And the thing I would use that for is, you know, during the wintertime doing the snow blowing and the snow plowing, all that gravel gets in the lawn, and it takes hours with a driveway as long as ours to rake all that gravel back into the driveway. And I think that would be cool to kind of flip those stones out of the lawn and back onto the driveway.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Real quick, I want to address a comment here I see in the live stream. Lawn to Learn says he wants to get the power rotary scissors, and he said he's going to go with Ego. I think that's an awesome idea, because I had the power rotary scissors and it didn't work with the Echo. But as soon as I put it on my Ego multi-head plus system, it worked out great. So you can't go wrong with the Ego and the power rotary scissors. So I think that's a good option you got there, Learn to Lawn. Just wanted to say that. Let's see. Bush League Lawn said he had the SRMs. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Echo equipment. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. But to each their own, you know. And then, Russ, man, I know that, you know, we were talking about the equipment and stuff on Chad's channel. I know that on your channel you do a lot of product reviews and you try a lot of different things. But before we go into that, we do have a question here from Philip Carvey. What's up, Philip? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I never seen you before in the live stream. I appreciate you stopping by, bud. He said that he's dealing with an ant problem, but hesitant to put harmful chemicals out, especially for small pets. What do y'all recommend? Well, me personally, Philip, if you go back and you watch my video about how to control ants, I recommend fipronil. But the only problem is it is a chemical From what I hear, once it dries, it's safe for pets and things like that. But I could definitely understand why you wouldn't want to use that. Again, fipronil is not really supposed to be used in the lawn. It's more used around your home and your foundation and things like that. But if you want to use something that's like that's a little bit more safe, then borax. Ants really like eating borax, and it can help kill them. So I think if you look into that a little bit, like boron and borax, you might be able to get something there that's safe. Because I know I have a cat myself, and when I use those little taro ant traps, that's pretty much liquid boron, and it's supposed to be safe for pets. I don't know how true that is. You might want to look into that. But thanks for stopping by, dude. Let's see. Oh, Sonny Bermuda says he uses the steel with the power rotary scissors. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, Russ, can you tell me a little bit about the product, like some of your favorite products that you use? I don't really like, getting too product-y on my channel, but
Yeah.
I really value your opinion specifically because I know you've tried a whole bunch of them this season, and I know you, so I value your opinion.
Well,
To be
again,
honest.
I'm not buying products to review because I'm a small channel, right? So I'm buying them because I need them. Probably the two big things. Well, actually, the big thing I got last year was the Sunjoe dethatcher, and I know a lot of you guys use it, and that's probably why I bought it because I've seen other people use it. What I liked about it was it came with the dethatcher and the scarifier, and I did use both of them, and that was a very popular video. I think obviously a lot of people look into those products in the fall, so and I was impressed with it. And I've gone to the Home Depot and I've rented dethatchers and I've rented aerators over the years, and I'm getting tired of having all that stuff home. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy this thing. I'm going to try it. So that's one product that I really liked. And it's just staple now. I'm going to probably use it every fall. Again, the Ego Edger, fantastic. I love the
How about
blower.
as far as fertilizers?
For fertilizer, my favorite ferts, I mix it up. So I do like PGF Complete.
Nice.
I have tried a bunch of the fertilizers through the Yard Mastery brand. Probably those are probably the two. I'm also into, maybe I'm going to get into some liquids this year because I did go out and get I finally broke down and bought a backpack sprayer.
Oh, nice. What kind did you get?
With the Flowzone Typhoon 2.
Oh, man. You got
2.
the creme de la creme.
Of course, the 2.5 just came out, right? But yeah, I'm glad I got it. I've been using the Anderson spray bottles, and they work great. But some of the product, the microgreen is always a problem. Sometimes it clogs, even in those. And those are, I forget what the flow rate is on those bottles. But so I'm going to get a little more specific this year with the backpack sprayer. And I also work on a relative's lawn. And I've said this in my videos. She has much lower water pressure. And I have a lot of problem getting product out of those bottles at her house to the point where I'm wasting like 2 hours trying to get my liquids out. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to break down and get this backpack sprayer. I'm going to use it here. I'm going to use it there. So I'm looking forward to it. It's sitting behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it, but so I assembled it. I'll be sharing some of that on the channel this season, but I haven't gotten out to use it yet, obviously, because, it's only March. So
everybody says good things, man, about those Flowzone sprayers. I don't know. Did you see their new line of sprayers that they just released? They started like a whole nother offshoot of that company, the Sprayer Mates. I don't know if you've seen those. They're like they're not green. They have like blue caps on them instead of green, but they're also part of Flowzone too.
Yeah, and I looked at some other ones too, and I think there's a lot of good ones out there. Yeah, but you got to make a choice. So I talked to a couple people. There's no other particular brand that I talked to people that they didn't like. Like they all sounded pretty good. So I pulled the trigger and made a choice. So I'll let you know how.
They're awesome, man. I mean, Pest and Lawn Ginger, Ron Henry, all those guys use it, so it's got to be good. How about you, Chad? Do you spray any liquids in your lawn?
So last year we did the Sunday lawn care program. That was the first time we've ever sprayed liquids. And one of the issues we found with it, and a rare thing in Pennsylvania, Northwest Pennsylvania, we had some drought through the middle to end of last summer, and we have a water well where we live. So we did have a limited water supply. I wasn't willing to spread water throughout the lawn at that point, so we didn't get to use. I think there were 2 separate treatments for the end of summer and then the fall winter treatment we never got to put down because of that. And I think that's part of the problem with a system like that. If you live in an area like us where you're relying on a water well for your water source, you got to be cautious about when you use that water and how much you use.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick, I want to give a super special shout out to Simply Lawn Care TV. That's my homie, man. I just got to know him recently on Instagram. He's thinking about starting a YouTube channel. So what's up, dude? Thanks for stopping by, man. Much appreciated. And then, Mark, we have a question here for you from Sean Eckert. He said, do you test your soil? And how much organic matter do you shoot for?
I haven't done a soil test in a long time. I don't feel that I have to. Everything is working for me. Might check the pH this year. I don't think it's, I don't want to get into a long-winded story about soil testing and or pH, whatever. I think someone absolutely should do that just to kind of see what's there in the beginning of starting anything intensive, just to kind of know what's there. Obviously, knowing your pH, knowing a lot of that stuff is key. Mine at this point, I don't do a soil test, because I've got it to a point where we talked about it before. I don't want to get redundant or whatever, but in the beginning of the year, to the end of the year, it does its thing or whatever. I don't really have issues per se, so I don't have to do a soil test. The organic matter, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, you should always be looking to build organic matter in your soil, especially if you're a sandy soil. Clay as well. You want to be able to break up that clay. You want to be able to have the organic matter there for the microbes to mineralize and cycle those nutrients to the plant. It obviously kind of helps to kind of flocculate. It kind of helps break up that clay and stuff like that. There's a lot there. It's just a small fraction of your soil. It's typically 5 to maybe 8% average. But that 5 to 8% is absolutely paramount. It can't be understated, the importance of organic matter. That's why we're always looking to add carbon to our soil. That's why we're mulching grass clippings and leaves and stuff like that. It's food for the microbes that are cycling nutrients to the plant and stuff like that. But the only reason I would check my pH this year is because the aforementioned, that heavy-handed compost, that EQ compost that I top dress with biosolids, co-composted with biosolids, and I went kind of heavy on that. That might maybe have raised my pH. I tend to doubt it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not looking to move my pH in very incremental amounts, so to speak. If you look at nutrient availability, the nutrient availability is it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't change greatly from those percent, like 1 basis point. Although a pH is, if your pH is say a 6.5 and and then you go to the next like a 7.5, it's in tens. It's 10 times more acidic or basic than the previous number.
Yeah, that's going to be something that I really look at in my soil test this year, because it's been about 2 years since I tested my soil, so I'm curious to see where it's fallen. But real quick, I want to give a super special shout out to Super TA for the super chat. I appreciate that, buddy. He said, George, how loud are the rotary scissors? Super TA, they are loud. So if you're going to use them, definitely use them with a battery unit, because if you use it with a gas unit, you're going to have the sound of the gas engine and the screeching of the power rotary scissors, and that's no fun. They're pretty loud. You're going to want to use some headgear, but not so loud that you're going to break windows or anything, but they're definitely a loud piece of equipment. But I find that if you oil them up, regularly, not only grease the gears, but you also want to lube up the blades too, then they're not as loud. They're not usually too loud. Well, as usual. All right, guys, I think we're going to start wrapping things up here.
Real quick, George, going back to that pH thing though, real quick, I do want to kind of tie that up. Sure. For a lot of the lawn enthusiasts that are using, synthetic fertilizers and stuff like that, your pH can really fluctuate. The more we use these synthetic fertilizers and stuff like that. And that's another reason why building organic matter is kind of key, because that's a pH that buffers pH. You're less apt for your pH to really kind of, fluctuate when you have a good amount of organic matter in your soil. But for the most lawn enthusiasts, it is a good idea to kind of continually check your pH if you're using a lot of fertilizer product and stuff like that, and a lot of different. If you're using a lot of inputs, you should get one of those digital ones, man. I don't know if I don't see a lot of people in the YouTube lawn care community using those digital probes to check your pH. You could just stick it in there and check your pH at any given moment. pH is a pretty key thing to know, obviously, and we won't get into that. But
Yeah,
to have that nice probe or whatever, that digital one, that's pretty nice to not have to do an actual soil test or whatever. A soil test, it's going back to the original question, is that you really don't have to do it every year per se. You do it once, maybe at the beginning of the year. You could do it at the end of the year to kind of see where you got to, maybe the following season. But after that, once you use the recommendations off that soil test and you build that soil and you're looking at after the organic piece of it, you should get it to the point where you don't necessarily have to chase optimal levels and do a soil test every single year. Going back to the last thing we said, and then I'll let it go, is that it is nature. So, but anyways, I just wanted to tie that up about, when you're using a lot of inputs, especially synthetic and organic fertilizers, your pH might really kind of bounce a little bit around that range, so.
Yes, anyways. Absolutely. I totally agree, and I really like your organic approach to lawn care. Real quick, anybody watching this video, if you guys appreciated this content and got to know some of these creators that we had on the show, if you guys can hit that like button, we would all appreciate it. It helps us reach more people in YouTube, all of us together here, so we can get more eyes on this up and coming talent, because they all bring something to the table different, and I really like that. And I'm glad we were able to get like different specific kind of sub niches in this category here on this podcast. So
it was an awesome mix.
That was great.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely. So I think we're going to wrap it up real quick, guys. If you guys can tell the viewers where they can find you, we'll go ahead and start with Chad.
Sure. So we're Purple Color Life on YouTube. So if you just search for Purple Color Life, you'll find us there. We do also have a Facebook and Instagram page, and same thing. Just search for Purple Color Life. You'll find us on all 3 platforms.
Yes, and congrats on your success, by the way. But I know your guys' channel is really starting to blow up now, so that's awesome.
Thank you.
I did want to tell you that.
Thank you very much.
And then go ahead, Mark.
Lawn Creeps Limited on YouTube and Instagram. It's Lawn Creeps _Garden Geeks. And then I do have a Facebook, but it's pretty much defunct. I haven't really done anything on that in quite a while. But I love Instagram. I kind of plan on having that be my main vehicle, going forward. So, yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Real quick, I want to give a super special shout out to LG for the super sticker. Thank you so much, LG. LG is the man, dude. I see him around all the time, dude. Always good to see him around. And then go ahead, Russ.
Lawn Journeys on Instagram and YouTube. I did start supplementing this year at lawnjourneys.net. Just trying to add some additional information there. I am on Facebook, just not too much going on there, but it's primarily the YouTube channel.
Awesome. And then I see Super TA asks, will the T-Jet nozzles work on a Field King sprayer? I personally don't have a Field King. I can tell you that they work perfectly on the 105EX Sprayers Plus, and they work on the Husqvarna manual pump sprayer. Any of you guys have a Field King sprayer?
No.
Yeah. Actually, the Field King, if I'm not mistaken, is that a bowling pin type sprayer? If it is, then I'm pretty sure it'll work because the Husqvarna. Yeah? Yeah, then I think it'll work because the Husqvarna is made by that same company that distributes all those bowling pin sprayers. So I think it would work because it works on my bowling pin sprayer. So hopefully I was able to help you out, Super TA. And with that, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to say thanks to all my guests. They were awesome. I was really happy to have you guys on.
Thank you, George.
And to the viewers too. And we will see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, George.
Thanks, everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody be good. Thank you.